So we had hoped some time ago to finalize the charter document tonight. My
You're
optimism
live.
is, thank you. Okay. We've gone through the preliminaries of setting up the meeting. I hope there's a lot of people online watching and, well, I hope it's informative and you stay plugged in. Thank you. We have a town hall scheduled for tomorrow night. Thanks to Rose Hoffman, we got a few signs put out around town that actually advertises it a little bit. So again, I'm optimistic that we will have a better turnout at the town hall at the Willow Park Baptist Church at 6:30 tomorrow evening. So anybody online that wants to join us, hope to see you there. Thank you. I'm going to report current status to the city council on the 13th. Our original plan to present the charter to them. I just don't think we're ready to do that. In fact, do we need a meeting on January 14th? We don't necessarily have to finalize that answer right now. We have a lot of stuff to go through tonight. If we get through all of it, maybe we don't need that meeting. Again, my optimism is thin. In fact, we may want to consider whether we need a meeting on January 21st to actually finalize the charter. And that gets us into an area I don't want to get into, because the current plan would be to submit the charter to the city council on the 27th of January. Okay. The deadline to call an election for the city is, I believe, the 13th of February.
Sounds right.
It might be the 14th, whatever that Friday is.
Somewhere in there, yes.
Okay. And I really don't want us to be getting down to providing the charter to the council on the 10th of February. Okay. The last thing I want to mention here is we have tentatively at least thought about having an additional 3 town hall meetings. I have actually confirmed with the Willow Park Baptist Church that they could have the facility available for us on the 19th of February and the 5th of March, being Thursdays. An initial request to have one on the 9th of April wasn't going to work because the only Thursday in April they have available is the 23rd, and early voting will have already started. So I have reserved the 7th of April, a Tuesday, for a 3rd town hall meeting. Okay?
Yes.
Does that conflict with this?
No.
Okay.
Not unless they call a special one.
Okay.
Okay? Any questions on the schedule? Any thoughts that I haven't mentioned? Okay. Next thing on the agenda is to discuss what are we going to do with this concept of an ethics board and a code of ethics and the enormously complete articles 11 and 12 that we incorporated into the most recent version of the chart. My thoughts are, again, an enormous amount of research and consideration went into developing those documents. And the result is a new model for what a board of ethics might look like and how it would operate in such a way that basically all parties, people who wanted to file a issue, people against whom issues were being filed, the safeguards in there and the requirements to swear on oath that something needed to be done. I think they're all great. On the other hand, it is such a new model. I'm not sure that a brand new home rule charter is the best way to put it on the field and test run it. Any thoughts on what I just said?
So looking at the legal review, and the comments, I spent some time and went into the Kyle, charter. And what they have in there is, and I might be jumping ahead to your options, but like option 3 under 2.3. It potentially putting a paragraph similar to what Kyle has. It says, the city, I won't read it, but the city council shall adopt yada yada, an ordinance providing an ethics policy, and it basically spells out thou shalt do this. But and then there is no time reference here that we could add, says, within 30 days, within 60 days of the charter, etc. But I like it because I think more time is needed to really spend on, the two articles. I mean, they're thorough as all get out. I just don't know if that amount of detail is necessary in the charter. That detail, if you go into Kyle's ordinance, that detail is in the ordinance around who's there, how, it's really the procedure of how they're gonna execute that all versus going in the charter. So,
What do you think?
well, no, so my recommendation for folks to consider is to put a section in there that says, the council shall adopt an ordinance or shall create an ordinance to implement the things that this commission is asking for. And then through the ordinance creation process, flesh out, actually use what's been submitted as maybe the starting point, to flesh out, the bones before, we hit the ground running.
So that we take what we have currently in 11 and 12, pull that out of the charter and use that as an example during the election of this is what we're looking at for the city council to do.
Yeah.
And make that part of it, but have that in there that you have to have a ethics commission. That is something that we need.
Yes.
And that addresses Councilman Wright's concern about having too much direction on how the commission is done, but we still put that idea in the voters' minds when they vote for this charter.
Sure.
Well, let me point out that Article 9, before we even looked at or had Articles 11 and 12 available, Article 9 has a paragraph in there that says the council shall, by ordinance, create a board of ethics. It is not as fully descriptive as the paragraph out of the city of Kyle that Daryl just.
I think we needed something more descriptive on it.
And Daryl brought that to my attention this afternoon, which was not enough time to bring it to y'all's attention. So what I'm hearing is we need a meeting on the 14th.
Oh, no, not really. I mean, if you can go ahead and read that, just go ahead
I can
and
do
do
it quick if you want to hear it, or
Yes, please.
I'm not comfortable
Yeah.
with everybody on the commission taking a verbal input and going, hey, yeah, that's it. I'm good with that.
Well, it just gives
I'm
us a
sorry.
starting point.
No, we need a little more diligence than that.
Well, then let's get a copy so we can have that when we leave tonight.
Oh, you'll have it by the time I get, 10 minutes after I get home, you'll have a copy of it.
Could I make a suggestion? Why don't we, there are, what, 6 or 7 points from the legal review that require our conversation. And that deal with what I'll call the guts of the actual charter. Could we prioritize getting through that maybe tonight? And then I think we are gonna need a meeting on the 14th, and maybe we can prioritize that meeting for the Ethics Commission and what we do or don't do about that.
Okay, so, help me out. Which 6 items real quickly?
You sent out this afternoon kind of an analysis from the legal review that the Messer group made, and there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of the points that they raised that need some discussion.
Right, but none of those are actually associated. Well, the very last one
The last
is
one
the
is, but what I'm
code
saying
of
is-
ethics in the.
I'm
Board of Ethics.
suggesting we kind of bifurcate, and the first 6 do deal with the rest of the charter. And I think my suggestion is that maybe we work on those tonight
Okay,
and then start the Ethics Commission.
so if I go to the next slide,
Mm-hmm.
we will actually start that process. Okay, but, before we go on to that next slide, I just want to make sure we have 3 options currently on the table. One, we could just leave Articles 11 and 12 in there as they are currently. We could attempt to streamline them because they're a little complicated. And the danger in trying to streamline them is they are so complete and so well thought out that if you try to remove a piece here, I'm afraid it will fall like a house of cards. So that would leave us with the third option of simply falling back to hunting to have the council create a board of ethics by ordinance. Now, the details of that statement, we will come back to. Okay?
Okay.
Everybody good with that?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. So when I got the document yesterday afternoon, it would have been better having gotten a week before. I did 2 things. I updated the version identifier on it, and when they updated the table of contents, you couldn't read it because it was all red and blue from changes. So I printed copies of the PowerPoint files out for everybody,
Yes.
because I think the best way to go through this now will be to pull up the actual document on the screen, so everybody can see what we're talking about. Well, I'm sorry, everybody in the room can see it. I wish we had the opportunity to share the video along with the slides that we have, but I'm told that would cost the city. What'd you say, Todd, 20,000 just to be able to do that?
No, I didn't say that.
Oh, okay, well,
Nice try, though.
okay, so I'm gonna keep me straight here, and the first item is to remove the word subject from 2.02.01. Anybody have any objection to that?
Nope.
Um, 2.02.02, the word or doesn't seem to add any benefit. I also think that ought to come out. Objection?
No.
And the next thing is. We have
2A.
A8. Yeah, this was a little more complicated. I wasn't able to, I got an update to the comments that were provided yesterday, today. Which was not timely enough to prepare the material to share with you guys for this meeting. However, and I did look this up, state law says the minimum number of people on a petition to not have to pay a filing fee to be on the ballot for an elected position in the city is 25, not 50. Or 1/2 of 1% of the total number of voters who participated in the most recent mayoral election. To get above 25 people, then you have to have 5,000 or more people vote in the mayoral election. I figure it'll be a while before we get there. So. I think there's two choices here. For the interim, if we just said at least 25 would be okay for a long time. Or we could say, the minimum required by state law.
By doing that, then we're not subjecting this to have to be changed. We're making it last
Right.
by tying it to state law, so,
I think that's a smart play.
That solve the problem?
yes.
It does.
A minimum. Of qualified voters.
Minimum number of qualified.
Minimum
Okay, you're doing it. Okay, that's fine.
qualified voters. As required. Law. Everybody good?
Is it state law or Texas election code?
Texas election code, I like that. That's more to the point. Okay,
Next item is 3.02B2. Remove extra period.
yeah, there you go. Those things I didn't think would take us a lot of time.
Same section, but B 302. Add or as otherwise required by law to prevent need for charter amendment in the event of state law change.
I'm okay with that.
Yep.
No problem.
No, good idea.
I think that's what we'll do. Okay,
Need a space there, Gene. Do you got a space there?
I think there's a space there.
Okay.
If not, there will be when I'm compiling.
3.03B, add municipal judges to list of employees.
Right.
Yep.
Okay, so that one, I thought about, and I guess I don't know why we didn't have municipal judges in there previously, maybe because we only have one, but that's okay. I think that's a good one. Thank you. Any objection?
No.
Okay.
No, it's not. Okay, that's the front.
That's front.
3.04H, delete as a redundancy, C 312.
Yeah, I don't care about that one. I'm not sure that redundancy hurts.
So why have it?
I don't care.
Some people need redundance to understand things that are stated.
But it does say
Government document.
it is in another paragraph. So. Any thoughts?
I would offer that one of the reasons that I generally recommend not having duplicative provisions is in the event a future commission changes something in provision that doesn't change somewhat. It's easy to miss things when they're in, so it's best. So it's more of a sort of a practical
No,
suggestion.
I appreciate that.
sense.
That's thorough. Except I can't imagine a condition under which we will not have the mayor be able to call an emergency meeting ever. Anywhere. No. Anyway, it's like I said, it's already in,
I think we should leave it. I mean, it states it, it's direct and that way that is there and nobody can question.
The other alternative might be to say the mayor may call a special or an emergency council meeting in accordance with the requirements of section, whatever it is, I can't remember, the section where they talk about
3.12.
3.12, so that you referred it back. That's a thought, if you,
so add reference to other paragraph.
Again, if you go change that document later down the road, you've got to make sure that reference is consistent.
That's true. Okay,
now,
what's your
We don't
will?
have a problem with.
I'm sorry, I would like to digress for a minute. Up above where he said that mayor may ceremoniously but not formally administer oaths. What's the thinking behind that?
Well, I think we're gonna come back to that one.
Are we gonna come back to the ones that we have to talk about? Okay.
Yes,
All
I
right.
think Jean, yeah,
Okay,
okay. 3.04I, remove extra period.
Wait a minute.
Oh.
I'm not sure I
Sorry.
understand the will of the commission on this H thing. Put it back in,
Leave it there and put as referenced in, and then the previous reference point in the document,
Not a previous reference point, it's a future reference. point.
or whatever.
Okay.
If you're gonna be splitting hairs, we can do a real good job of that.
I'm
And
not-
this is for,
Charlie.
this is for commission only.
Charlie. Okay, got it. 304I.
Yes.
Two periods, yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
3.6,
Be typical.
okay, that was a comment that said it's atypical. I'm not sure why it's a problem, though. But is it a problem?
Think if you want to mandate your city manager's review twice a year, there's nothing unlawful about that.
Okay.
It boils down to practicalities. And to write it in a different way that allows you to do more than one, that does not require you to do more than one, would just be a more flexible approach, and that is what we typically see. It is usually limited to one, or is in an at least one sort of approach, so that gives flexibility. Because there are times when you have personnel issues, disciplinary issues that may necessitate more than one review in a year. It's a preference, but there's nothing unlawful about the way that it's written.
So legally speaking, even with this change, city council can evaluate the city manager every council meeting.
Practically, that would be not useful.
Well, exactly. But what I'm saying is, the worry is that there's gonna be too much time between evaluations. City council always has the option.
Yeah. Right. And, but if you go out in industry and commercial and everything, it's generally twice a year. You get a mid-year review and you get an end-of-year review. So it allows you to check and adjust mid-year if performance is starting to, run off the rails. So at least that's why I was pushing for twice a year, being this is gonna be the guy or the gal that's running, the day-to-day operations of this city. And, there should be defined criteria on which they are gonna be assessed. So that the council knows, with certainty that things are progressing as expected.
and from the perspective of the city manager, it might not, it's a good idea for them to have a sense of where things are going and what the city council is thinking.
Yep.
Frequently supervisors don't do a good job of communicating when they're happy and when they're not happy. And it's not fair to the employee to go rolling on for months and months, thinking everything is fine, only to discover at the end of the year, when there's no time to correct, that the council is displeased.
And if that city manager is on point and doing a job well done, who doesn't want to hear twice a year that, hey, you're doing a great job, keep it up? I think twice a year is good.
Okay.
So what they said.
We'll leave that alone. I may, if I have some free time, I'll take a look at, is there a way to word it a little differently, but we may or may not get back.
3.7, delete, provided however, that in all cases, the mayor pro tem shall be entitled to vote.
Right, because they will be.
Right.
Okay,
3.9,
3.9.
replace C and D with C and D and E.
Oh, yeah, okay. So that one there is kind of important because I went and actually read text constitution section 11.11, and it says that stuff. So we ought to say that stuff. Anybody want to argue with that?
Awesome. 3.10, add election returns and qualifications.
Yeah.
I think it's just adding the word returns.
Correct.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. 3.13, reasonable clarification to meet tax code 26.05C.
Yes. Everybody good with that? Okay,
3.15C. Add municipal code of ordinances in not.
Just-
Or, yeah, I'm reading the whole thing on your
Right.
slideshow.
yeah, that version doesn't have the red line.
That's okay.
Red.
4.07F,
Almost there.
Yep.
So, yeah. I think that's a good change.
notify the state judicial council.
Right.
7.
Texas Judicial Council was instead of state judicial.
Oh, okay. 7.11.
Okay.
Amend one reading of full ordinance or caption thereof.
And that is reasonable based on how we worded that in other place.
What does that mean? Shall require one reading of. What does that mean?
It's a typical thing for legal stuff. And the reason you want to put the thing in about the full ordinance or caption thereof is that if you have a 19-page ordinance, you can read the caption in about a minute and a half,
Gotcha.
or the whole thing in about an hour and a half.
Ready?
Yes.
Okay. 7.12B.
No. Okay. Well, did I put the when required by state law in the
You have,
debate?
you have that
part?
debate.
Yeah.
Yes.
We'll come back to that. Okay. The changes in 7.12 that actually they clarify where data comes from and makes it clearer who sets tax rate being city council. So I'm all in favor of those changes. Any negative comment?
No.
Okay,
Debates.
mark it and
Yes.
go back to the debate stuff already.
Yes.
So good. Okay, back up.
Yes. This is sheet 3. This says sheet 3. Okay, yes. Yes.
Okay.
Sorry.
No problem. We Okay. The recommendation was to add the words ceremoniously but not formally. In the context of the mayor may ceremoniously but not formally administer oaths of office. And I looked up Government Code 602.002 and did verify that, yes, indeed, that the mayor is not listed in that section of the code. However, I believe the precedent is actually from the local government code 22042. I think the mayor was able to swear in a person just a few months ago. And there's a whole lot of cities that still have the mayor administers oaths in their charters. So I don't think that's a requirement. What am I missing?
So I think that you don't want the mayor to think that they can essentially, authenticate affidavits. There's only notaries and certain people on that state to do that.
No, I don't think this says that. I mean, it has been the habit here in Willow Park that the mayor has sworn in just about every new council member that's been elected since I've been here.
Right. And then those elected officials turn around and they sign a sheet. The oath in paper form that is then attested to by the city secretary. With a notary.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the distinction.
So it's still notarized.
That's right, but the mayor can't do that.
Mayor can't
I mean,
notarize
essentially,
on
that's the
secretary.
purpose of this clarification, is to make sure that.
But the language says it's only to administer oaths of office. It doesn't say anything about notarizing. It just says administer oaths of office.
That's one of the. I'm sorry, I spoke out of turn. Not notary.
And then the following paragraph said that they may sign, mayor may sign, not a notarized, but sign ordinances, resolutions, orders, statements, blah, 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 as directed or authorized. So that doesn't say anything about notarizing. So it looks to me like the way the document currently reads, they can administer an oath of office and they can sign things in accordance with as directed or authorized, except as by the council, except as delegated to the city manager. And
If I may, there is a special document that all elected officials have to sign after they've received their oath. So technically, if you're going to be in office, immediately after you take your oath, you turn around and the city secretary hands you something. What Fritz is talking about specifically is notarizing off the certificate of office holding.
right,
And so we think of swearing somebody and administering an oath as the hand up. And that also includes district, that, I don't think that really fits. They can swear somebody in, but they can't sign the documentation. It's basically what Fritz is trying to say.
and I agree with you.
Yeah.
And that's not what this says.
Right, and so we need to fix that to go with what they're saying.
Wait a minute, but what I'm saying is, an administration of an oath is that you say, raise your right hand and repeat after me. That's administering an oath. Signing other documents in accordance with, as directed by the city council, or except as delegated to the city manager, that's not the same thing as signing the documentation of office.
Correct.
And, administration of oath is
Yes,
purely,
the getting the oath is two things combined into one. Is swearing, is saying, and then signing the document. And we're really in the weeds.
Well, we could be, but the
We're
fact of the
in
matter
this.
is, the notary doesn't really have any power other than to verify that that is.
Then that's
in
the
fact
city.
person signing.
Right, and that's city secretary.
That's fine, but that they're not administering the oath.
It's completing the administration of the oath.
I don't, them signing that they attested it is.
It's an attestation.
It's
It's not an
it's,
administration.
I can see where they're coming from.
Yeah.
Having been around and covered those things for years and years and years and years. There's always that one, and what I'm hearing is the second part of taking office. Because you don't take office until you swear the documents.
Is, Chris,
So
is
if
there
this
any,
were to say, the mayor may administer oaths of office prior to them being notarized, that would be accurate?
The administration of oaths, that's the government code 602-002. Has a list of officials and persons that can administer oaths.
Right.
The mayor, a home rule city is. The chapter 22 provision is a general law of cities, and once you adopt this charter, it's not gonna apply to the mayor.
So could we just say the mayor may administer oaths of office? It also says in the next, the next paragraph, as you were saying, right? What that person can do. And under the city secretary roles and responsibilities, you could say notarize, whatever the right words are, notarize oaths or whatever, because we list a bunch of things that the city secretary.
I really don't want to spend that much more time on this subject,
There's
but I have a question. And that is, if this is not authorized, then how is it that Alito has it in their charter? Kennedale has it in their charter. Liberty Hill, Austin, Houston, Dallas. I'm confused.
Just because they didn't check it or didn't get it, doesn't mean that it's legal.
I know there's some cities that bring the municipal judge in and the municipal judge actually gets the oath.
That's happened before too. Yeah, I get it.
And that person's on the list, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay,
I have a question. So the mayor's not gonna do swearing in? I don't understand. I'm wrong.
swearing in, but you're not
Erroneously, yes,
signing off
but
on
then
it.
somebody else on the list has to sign the oath, the paper oath.
Right, which the secretary does now.
Then I think we just, then
Right?
I think we
Yeah.
should, I think the ceremoniously but not formally language is confusing. And I think it's a much better idea to add, as Daryl suggested, that add to the specific list of the duties of the city secretary to finish off the documentation on the administration vote. I think that if that's the concern, then I think that's how we deal with it.
okay, so Carol, can you send me
Sure.
Perfect.
word streams to make that happen? Which I will share with everybody after I get it. Okay. Moving on. 312. Number of council meetings per month. Or did you already get past? Actually, I think everybody said they were good with the way this is marked up.
I'm not. I think the council should be required to meet twice a month, with the exception of December, which I think is a different critter. Because I think the city council needs to be available to its citizens twice a month for people to come and talk. And I know it is that the city council members all have email addresses, but if someone has a problem, I think they want to be able to make a public statement of what that problem is, look their city council in the eye, and have their city council know that they're serious about it. I think that Willow Park is growing. The chances of the city not having business to transact twice a month is slim and gets slimmer with every piece of population we add. I feel very strongly that twice a month is not it's not too much of a burden on the city council. Now, and if there's illness and you can't, which happened during COVID when you couldn't get a quorum, fine, reschedule. But I feel very strongly that people need to be able to meet their city council face to face twice a month.
Okay, noted, and I agree with the sentiment, absolutely. But like I said, I was on the council for a few years. And understand occasionally there are difficulties in because of holiday schedules, whatever. So I would offer that maybe we should consider, I put a word stream in here, the council shall schedule 2 regular meetings per month. But a regular meeting may be canceled with a minimum of 14 days prior notice so that the public is made aware of it.
This isn't a hill that I'm gonna die on. But I'm sorry. I think that twice a month is not an undue burden. And I think the chances are very good that there are things that need to be worked to be taken care of. It puts the city staff in a situation where they may have contracts that need to get signed. They can't get them signed, which can delay projects. But most importantly, the council needs to be physically available to its citizens.
Oh, I don't misunderstand. I agree with you 100%.
And if something's come up, then if they need to cancel a meeting because there's an illness, there's whatever, that's fine. Reschedule it.
Okay, well, I guess part of my thinking in what I put forth is that if you have to make an announcement 2 weeks in advance that you're gonna cancel a meeting, that gives you time to reconsider when you're gonna call the other special meeting to make up for it.
Well, let's think also about COVID, and hopefully we will never have to deal with that before, but I was in a situation where I didn't have a quorum 24 hours before the meeting started because 4 of my trustees came down with COVID on the same day. So what would I have done in that situation?
I found myself with a high quorum level for this bunch. And so, yeah, I'm.
You know, that could happen.
Anyway, I don't want to put, manacles or chains on this subject. I agree with you. The council needs to be accessible to the public. Period. And I think that the requirement to hold 2 regular meetings
With the exception of
without
December.
any
With the
wiggle
exception-
room at
without-
all.
and not in December, because that's very reasonable.
Well, and that's where I come in with the ability to, with notice, cancel a meeting.
But that opens it up to any other month. The way I read what we have on the screen, the council may hold up to 2 meetings a month. That takes out the shall hold 2 meetings. So the may hold up to 2 meetings.
You could have 0.
They can have
Yeah.
0.
Look over here. See over here? I'll put the word shall in.
Understand?
Yeah, but I'm just
With
talking
an
about the red line.
allowance that with notice, you can cancel 1.
And I think you might have kind of manacled in worse, because if they're canceling the meeting, if they're doing their job, the only reason they're canceling the meeting is because of some sort of unforeseen weirdness. And they may not know about the weirdness 14 days in advance. I mean, if it's illness, if it's, I don't know.
You only had 1 in December, right?
Yes.
Do we have any history on how many meetings we've had in the last 2 years that didn't have a quorum?
One that I know of.
And did they reschedule it?
That was a special
It
meeting.
was a special meeting.
Oh,
It
okay.
was-
So, yeah, I don't have a recollection of when a regular meeting didn't have a quorum. Which is easier because you only need 3. Okay,
What do the others, what do others feel? Let's try to get through this so what are other opinions around?
Well, I see where she's coming from. I think that if you're gonna be on city council, you do need to be available for your citizens. You need to listen to what the community has to say and not just be on city council for show. You need to be committed. If not, stay home and don't be on city council. That's how I feel. See where she's coming from.
I agree with what Carol's saying, and if we're gonna do anything, Gene, I think we should, put in a special thing for one meeting in December and take away the 14-day notice.
I do think the one meeting in December is fair.
okay, so Charlie, you're gonna send me the text on that?
Oh, I can give you the text right now. You wanna type it?
I'm not sure I wanna, because of the way that is. No,
It's real simple. I mean, they shall hold up to 2 regular meetings per month. But with the exception of December, where one meeting is permissible due to the holiday. I mean,
Take out up to. Shall hold 2 regular meetings each month.
yep,
Except in the month of December when it shall hold 1 regular meeting.
I'll take that. So,
shall hold 2 meetings each month, comma, with the exception of the month of December where one meeting is permissible, comma, and hold as many additional meetings as deemed necessary.
I did not go to typing.
Somehow you got spaced out, Gene.
Yeah. Everybody happy with that? Okay. Oh,
606.
yeah, 606 through a lot. The recommendation is to remove from referendums resolutions. The current addressment is that referendums can be called on ordinances and resolutions. And I think I understand maybe the source of that. I mean, the comment we got had to do with a resolution providing authority to sign a contract. Yes. But also resolutions are used to initiate actions to like obtain tax notes. That is, spend money. So I guess the question I have is, is there a way to define what resolutions might be exempt from this rather than just a universal exemption? You understand where I'm going? I mean, there are some resolutions that affect the citizens.
Chief, can I ask a preliminary question, which is it statutorily permissible to include resolutions in the recall mechanism?
There is nothing in state law about. We're talking about initiative and referendum.
Right.
Okay. So there's nothing in state law about that. That is a creature of home rule city charters. So there's nothing in state law that says this can't be. But as a general rule, when we talk about ordinances, those are things that are it's usually considered the more serious, more permanent action. It's usually the legislative action. You're adopting rules of general applicability that's going to affect everybody in the community. And that's why initiative referendum were put in there. But resolutions usually tend to be more specific, action specific, authorizing signing a contract. And,
Maybe that's a good, for the benefit of the people who are listening. What are the various uses of resolutions? It's broad. It's
Well,
broad.
let me throw one out here too. We passed the tax rate ordinance. That's not an ordinance that somebody's gonna call referendum.
There are
Actually, I think there are some specifics in here that say you can't do that.
There is. And in addition to that, there are court cases out there that some subject matters are completely outside the realm of initiative or referendum. What's it called? The realm of initiative and referendum.
Right.
So tax rate adoption, zoning, annexation. There's a couple others, but we don't have to address that because Texas law is pretty set.
Right.
Those things you cannot change or issue.
So, okay, so if we have, we are statutorily permitted to include resolutions. And the statute will also disallow automatically stuff that's not eligible. What is the downside of including resolutions?
The downside of including resolutions is there's too many variables out there. I mean, I've never seen one that includes resolutions. Have you? No. Okay. So, and resolutions can do a vast array of different things that, I mean, we could go through and do a systematic search of Texas law and say, well, these types of resolutions, we can do initiative referendum, and these types we can't. But
Okay, but, I think, Gene, correct me if I'm wrong. I think resolutions was part of the Liberty Hill document, was it not? Daryl?
I didn't put it in here.
I'm pretty sure that was in there. And I still feel like the whole process is sort of self-cleaning. Going out and getting signatures is a woolly voter, even when you've got something that's, pretty universally popular. And I tend to think that if you went out there with a petition about something picayune, you're going to have a hard time getting enough signatures to make anything happen. And I just feel like the reason we're exploring the home rule option is to give our citizens more of a voice. And resolutions, you're right, it's a very broad field. But some of the stuff that gets done by resolution is very impactful. And I hesitate to take that off the table.
Is there a way you could suggest a disclaimer, a categorization, a way to describe resolutions that would be subject to a referendum. I mean, again, anything that is created by a resolution that will end up increasing debt for the city, I don't see why that should not be subject to a referendum if it's onerous enough. So, again, taking an axe to the thing to take resolutions out, I'd rather have a scalpel. Okay,
We can take a crack at that. Again, we're not advocating one way or the other, it's just, there's a lot of uncertainty. That's packed into including that in your charter. Personally believe that.
okay. Well, I think we're gonna leave this as is for now because
But what I'm hearing you saying is, in particular, the concern is the big ticket, we'll call it big ticket resolution, right? That have to do with incurring debt. But I'd rather make a list of resolutions that are included rather than a list of resolutions that are X.
whichever is shorter. So, yeah, if you could help us with that, that would be great. But again, meat cleaver approach, I'm not in favor of on this one. Okay. So,
Saxy charter.
It's in the Saxy charter, so resolutions are in the Saxy charter.
Yes.
well, I know the summer, because we didn't invent any of this. Well, except for the later articles. You know. For sure. There's something missing. It should say percent. So, we discussed this before. State law says 5% of the number of qualified voters. Okay. Oh, just to be real clear, this is what is the number of signatures required to validate a petition to have an election on an amendment to the charter. This is over and above the referendum initiative and recall stuff. Okay. And state law says it's 5% of the number of qualified voters of the municipality. Which right now is going to be pretty close to 30% of the voters who participated in the last meeting.
State law wins.
Yes. Okay. Shorter conversation.
We talked about this last time, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
We did?
Yeah.
So I think the comment Dr. Thomas put in. Is the highlighted sentence above. We may need to do some clarification on that particular.
I'm sorry.
The subject matter of a charter amendment but must not be legislative and must be directed at the form of government and governance of the city, authorizing or limiting its powers as directing the manner of the exercise of those powers.
Right.
I have no problem with that. That's what a charter does. It's not legislative.
Can be. And some cities have examples, minimum wage requirements, put in the charter.
Yeah, I think that's the prerogative of the council.
So I understand what this is trying to do, and I agree with it in principle. It's just,
Okay, so we got a comment that you're not sure what this is intended to do, but what's the recommendation that you're providing?
The recommendation, and this is me attempting to wordsmith Mr.'s recommendation on this particular item. Which I do carefully and go to sleep. His comment, in a broader sense, was that it is not always easy to identify legislative versus judicial versus executive/administrative functions. Those certain things don't fall neatly into those categories. And so what the comment is getting at, and I don't have any recommended language for, but just having a deeper understanding of, it's clear you're trying to put some boundaries up. What are those boundaries? And is there a clearer way to say that other than using legislative function?
Could you take legislative out and just say it must be directed at the form of government and the governance of the city? Yada, yada, yada.
That's your recommendation, Darrell?
Yeah, I'm just, if the angst is around the legislative. What we're saying is the subject matter of the charter amendment, must be directed at the form of the government and governance of the city. Yeah, et cetera, et cetera.
And not only that, I mean, we've got a pretty solid body of case law and AG opinions around what charters are and what they are not. And if we decided to go off into the hinterlands on something, there's a pretty solid body of law that would help direct us if we get off course.
And we can always use the Texas state charter to guide us in how to do things properly. That was a joke, come on.
So in reading that sentence, just so I'm clear, it is must be directed at the form of government and governance of the city, authorizing or limiting its powers, and directing the manner of exercise of those powers. Is that a list of 3 things?
That's how.
And if so, I think a comma will clarify. Would help clarify.
Where would you put the comma?
After the
City, authorizing.
yes, after
Well,
the
that's
word
fine.
city.
Okay, say it again.
Just adding a comma after the word city.
Scoot up one line,
There you
right there.
Right there.
Okay,
go. Good.
And I think that the strike through solves what would inevitably become an argument over what is and what is not a legislative.
okay,
Thank you.
good stuff, thank you.
Better, thank you.
And yeah, but I
Thanks again.
think I missed something.
I think we just got that.
People did.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I had 7. Hope I didn't miss one.
No, still have more.
Oh, still,
okay.
801, that's the one we were talking about before we got off on the,
Right, but we decided state law wins, so.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yep.
And then that gets us down to What are we gonna do with Board of Ethics? We could very easily just simply reinstate as a starting point.
I would like to see what Daryl found in the language that he had.
Okay,
And since we're not making copies of that tonight, so we can look at it in a 5-minute recess, then we have to come back. Now, if we can get some copies made of that and take a look at it, we may be able to finish that off tonight,
okay.
since we have plenty of time.
Can you access the copier?
100%. Do you have something that's already printed?
Yes.
How many copies you want?
9.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, and while we're waiting for that, whoops.
Page 2.
Yeah, I'm just on one page. No,
Is there your notes on it?
yeah, well,
We're going out to Willow Park Citizens,
yes,
number 9.
yes. So, we might as well move on. These are not shaking. I hope. In 201 under general powers, we have an extraneous word of. State of Texas, together with all the implied powers necessary to carry into execution, works just as well as all of the implied powers. Any problem? Um, no. Okay, last sentence here, the city shall have the power to regulate a wide range of local activities in order to promote the health, welfare, morals, comfort, and safety of the cities and its inhabitants. I'm gonna make some modification here.
So some feedback that we had received was around, morals. It's,
Thank you.
how do you, what kind of local activities, focus, morals is a very broad,
Big word.
it's a big word, right? Comfort is also, pretty ambiguous. So I don't know if you look at, what I had sent, but based on some feedback was really the health, safety, welfare. And he's doing it now and getting rid of morals and comfort. There you go.
And we're keeping safety.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So, wide range of local activities to promote the health, safety, and general welfare of the city and its inhabitants.
You need to leave the other one.
Yes.
How do I do that? Do it this way.
I don't have a huge, I don't really have much of a dog in this fight, but I want to make sure, let's say that some sort of sexually oriented business decided to come to town. And I would want to make sure, I personally think we could if the city decided to establish ordinances that would somehow
Prevent.
regulate,
Yeah.
let's not forget about constitutional rights. Something along those lines that health, safety, and general welfare would cover. And that's a question for Fritz and Susan. Let me put it another way. Is there any activity that cities generally try to regulate that could not be reasonably slotted under health, safety, and general welfare? Or maybe a better way of saying, is there anything that morals and comfort covers that those three don't?
I can start. I don't know. Okay, so I think we discussed this language at the first meeting, perhaps.
It
And
was addressed, yeah.
right. And so I use the term police power.
Right.
That's just a very general sense.
And well understood.
Right. So it's essentially the city council has the legislative authority to do anything that it, that as long as it abides with the laws and the Constitution, that makes the lives of its inhabitants better in any way. So if we're worried about this Article 2.01, including morals and comfort, somehow that language giving the council broad authority to do certain things that might be unconstitutional, it's not going to do that.
Clearly.
But I don't think taking out that language,
Would in any way inhibit the police power of the city.
I'm not prepared to answer that question.
Okay.
I'm unaware of any case, but that's just the normal general language that.
Yeah, morals and comfort, you see that regularly. But I understand where Daryl's coming from because it does sound like we're, creating the Handmaid's Tale.
So I would also suggest perhaps, and I abhor moral governance, even, I think that things are left between you and your maker, but those issues are whether this is a good idea to pass this ordinance or regulate this activity. That's probably best left up to the political process between the council and the citizens.
Understood, but we're creating the framework within which the council operates.
I understand.
So Carol.
So I can't, I'm not prepared to answer the specific question as to what effect deleting that language is gonna have. I could argue none, right? But
Okay, let me ask my question another way. Is it common / normal / prevalent to have the morals and comfort language in charters or not?
I have seen it where it's not there. It's
Okay.
health, safety, welfare, the main,
Those are the biggies.
the biggies, the described.
Okay, well then, if you've got health, safety, and welfare, I mean.
Right.
I'm covered.
Carol, to be candid, I'm not sure how you regulate morals. The example that you came up with on a sexually oriented business wants to move to town, how do you regulate? Well, we adopted a sexually oriented business ordinance in 1993.
Right.
So. And I don't think we were regulating the morals of anybody. We were simply requiring people to, I think, for example, you have to wear a pinned ID tag on your left wrist. That's cool. Okay.
Honestly, I'm fine with eliminating morals and comfort, so long as that does not in any way impinge on a normal police for the city.
I'm quite comfortable with this.
If you are, then I'm fine.
Okay.
I will give it some thought, but let's proceed.
Meaning that's, you can take that.
Okay, so we have numerous. Okay, looking at 302A, there are 8 sub-bullets. Some are ended with a comma, some ended with a period, some ended with a semicolon. I think they should all be consistent. Anybody object to me changing that?
No.
Proceed.
I think 302B2, we already found the second, the double period. 303A. No mayor or council member shall hold any other elected public office. Suggestion was made to say, or city employment. In the same context.
What happens if later the council makes a resident passes an ordinance that gives them stipend? Well, then that makes them not just serving an office, but also receiving financial remuneration.
Yeah, I think that's Article 305,
Right.
that they can authorize themselves an annual salary.
But then that makes them employee.
I think I've dealt with this before, where for purposes of withholding the tax purposes, because they get a stipend, they are considered employees, but they are officers when it comes to interpreting the issue.
Yes.
That's a good question. But I kind of like the idea that,
Well, that's fine. I'm just bringing it up that someone may come out and say that they're employees, but if they've handled that before, that's fine.
okay, leave it in for now. 303B. Oh, too far. I think this got fixed. No?
Yeah, their views instead of his or hers.
Oh, right. The suggestion was to change its to theirs. So I think that's taken care of. 303C, we find that you're not allowed to talk to any of the employees unless you go through the city manager or the city attorney. And the question was raised, why would we want the city attorney to circumvent the city manager in talking to employees?
There are situations where the city attorney may find something and they're doing an investigation of their own. And or something has come up and they want to have the city attorney involved. So yeah, there's no problem with that. You're not circumventing the city manager at all.
Right, so in that case, the city manager would involve the city attorney.
Or city attorney may involve himself.
Yeah, I just, as I read this, it just, to me, it was confusing, it wasn't specific enough. In other words, you know, what we're saying is we should be going through the city manager, right? As the, you know, the focal point. And if you add additional people in that loop, you may be, you know,
Very valid.
going around and or complicating matters.
So the suggestion was to delete or city attorney.
Well, here's the situation. What if a city councilman has gotten reports from or has a complaint that the city manager did something improperly? Well, he goes to the city manager can take steps to do something to the whistleblower, may do something to cover his tracks. Where if they go to the city attorney can take that city councilman to the employee to find out what happened That, to me, that opens up another, check in the checks and balance.
Well, now you're
But-
talking about allegations of misconduct.
Yes, which would also go to the,
Ethics.
ethics committee.
That's
Depending on how the city council sets up the ethics committee,
Right.
because as I read this right here. The city council, well, anyway,
Yeah.
there's, this just sets up the check and balance. So it's up, it may be something you want to think about for a week, but I'm good either way. What do you think, Carol?
I'm good either way.
Okay.
Either way. Okay,
Whatever the chairman wants to do is good for me.
Dave, what do you think?
I'd pick the city manager, the city attorney out.
Yeah, the case where
If you go
need
into these
somebody else to go
investigative
and
things, that's a whole
investigate.
different.
if you don't have a board of ethics, then you go to the chief of police.
Mm-hmm.
And that's. Yes.
It's unfair to the chief. of police.
For now, I'm going to hit delete so that that's marked. And 304. The suggestion was to improve the language by changing the word work to collaborate.
Sure.
I think either one conveys the meaning that we want, so. Anything?
Either way.
305. No ordinance increasing such salary shall become effective. No ordinance to increase such salary. What's the right? What's the right English there? Who's the English professor?
You can go either way. Editor's prerogative.
306, this one might be good. Relationship to the city manager. City council hires city manager. Suggestion is consider making a relationship with the city manager. And I don't care.
I agree with Daryl, doesn't matter.
Okay. 309B. I'm okay with this one. Fails to maintain the qualifications required in section 302. The word as superfluous.
As required, make it sound more legalese, doesn't it? Makes it sound lawyery.
Ashley. We're starting to be taught.
Oh, you're taught how to speak English where people can understand. Okay,
Yes,
thank you.
finally.
Not really, actually.
We've already addressed the comment there.
They're still using legal paper.
402A. We have.
Did you skip 311 or just?
We already covered. Oh, that's. I might have skipped one, I'll go back. 402A. The recommendation is to remove the word solely from shall be made on the basis of merit and fitness demonstrated by a valid and reliable examination.
Solely makes it very specific.
Correct.
Yes.
Right,
I like the word solely in there.
I think it should stay.
Okay. I'm gonna move that one. Any residency requirement of the city manager shall be shall be determined by the city council.
Here, a case in the 80s, it was a police officer case, I remember, that struck down residency requirements for police officers.
Maybe.
I know, you probably weren't even born then.
Anybody want to keep the word as here?
Let's
No.
take it off.
You know, back was in, I remember that.
Thank you.
Come on, take it.
Come on. Good.
Okay, while I'm going through this stuff, are y'all reading the city's pile?
Yeah, I've already read it, made notes.
Maybe it was a Supreme Court case, it was like 1981 or 2. It had to do with police officers being required to live in the cities that they were in.
Okay, this one's easy.
Step those down.
404, again. Bunch of bullets with periods and semicolons and other things at
Just
the end of
fix 'em.
them, make them all
Yeah.
uniform.
405.
405 is, I think that's okay. Change act as to function as. They say kind of the same thing, but I like function maybe a little better.
You do.
I don't care.
Comments?
Whatever you want to do.
Oh,
Whatever floats your boat.
okay. 407 A through K, more punctuation consistency stuff. 409 B. And the question is, should this subparagraph be moved to section 404 under the city manager duties part? And I don't think so. The city manager shall appoint, but then this also talks about the department head shall do stuff.
But the title is Public Safety, Police and Fire.
Well, the
Right.
title on that might need some jiggering.
Okay.
That's what threw me off.
Right.
And then we talked about the departments, right? So you got a fire department, police department.
Except we don't have a firm.
Well, I know, but
But we might someday in the future.
maybe. So my thought was for this one was, why wouldn't that be, you know, underneath the city manager's list of things that they're expected to do?
I would like some feedback on a more appropriate title for section 409.
Just public safety.
Why be public safety?
Mm-mm.
What's wrong with it?
What, public
Well, it's
safety?
more than that. Public
More-
safety and utilities
Okay.
maybe.
It's more than that. Because it's not just public safety, there's like
Like roads and water.
roads, water, sewer, I mean, there's all the various departments.
There are a
that-
number of cities that have a director of public safety that doesn't have anything to do with roads and water. They are the people who run the fire department, police department. They
That's
control
correct.
both. So I mean, public safety is assumed to be police or fire.
Understand,
Police and fire.
but if you read this, the broad 409B is talking about assigning department heads. So underneath the city manager, he or she has all these departments.
Right.
So it's assigning them to all those. And it's broader than public safety.
Public work.
Yeah. That could be it.
And your goal is to move that to where?
No, it doesn't have to. It just didn't, to me, the title and what was underneath it just threw me off. Especially section B.
I think revisiting that at our next meetings.
Yeah, let's bring that back when we,
Move.
if we get to.
Okay. Let's see. Um,
Want me to talk to you?
no, I'm
This is all what the city manager are supposed to do.
Are you going back to get the ones we missed?
No, he's still got another.
That's
501A, the term ordinances general. Where is?
Oh,
Well, you said it's in here.
The last line, city ordinances generally.
shall be publicized in a manner of the city ordinances generally.
Okay, I got the context of that.
What's the thought?
Well, that's not just saying in the manner of city ordinances, it's in the manner of city ordinances, the way they're published. Many places. Or publicized in the manner of city ordinances, generally like in the city newspaper of record.
which is what? That any
Community
reads?
news.
Yeah, who reads it?
I do.
I just didn't know what that last generally meant.
Well, you know,
Hmm,
more or less,
yeah, I just,
better, more.
I mean, I'm not dying on the hill for it, but it just to me was, didn't have a lot of meaning.
Okay. This one I think is pretty good. Where is it?
Up, right there, that line. Go to the left there.
The city secretary shall review the application. This is somebody applying to run for council or mayor
Right.
with the guidance of the city attorney or other city staff. Why?
He's the person who's got the job that's independent from everybody.
Yeah, but why does said secretary
Yeah,
need to
that's-
sit with the city attorney?
Right, that's what I'm saying. She's got the job, just have her do it, just take that city attorney.
Okay.
Or city staff.
Guys, I think 999 times out of 1,000, the city secretary is totally competent to run down that list of eligibility requirements and say yes.
Yeah.
But I don't think we should disallow them access to legal counsel to the extent they feel like they need it.
Taking this out doesn't disallow that.
Uh-oh.
Leaving it in
Required.
implies requiring.
Not really, because it says as needed.
Yeah,
And if you don't have it in there, it makes it sound like the city secretary is the ultimate arbiter of whether somebody meets the guidelines or the eligibility requirements, I should
Yeah.
say.
Okay.
Okay.
So
Of course, other city staff is really general.
Here's a body of law
okay.
judging eligibility requirements based on ballot applications. The city secretary can't go beyond 4 corners of the ballot. They check public records, I believe, but making residency determinations they can't do. So I don't think you need to mandate city attorney involvement, because I think you're right. A lot of times the city secretary knows that stuff better than we do.
The attorneys.
But I see a problem with that.
Let's say that.
It does say as needed.
So,
I yield.
okay, one more real quick.
Mhm.
601. If the city fails to adopt an ordinance so proposed. I understand why the language is like that. The citizens are bringing in an ordinance that they want the council to act on. And so it is an ordinance so proposed, but the recommendation is to read, to adopt a proposed ordinance without any change. Does that make it clearer or less clear?
Addition. Clear. It's
The change makes it clearer? Crickets.
I gave you an answer.
You were gonna say something?
Oh, no,
He's tired.
despite my profession, might not think this, but I like short sentences.
Okay,
So I make it.
We'll be revoking your bar card.
well, there's not a whole bunch more of just
Grammar.
comments are wrong. I do have one question of relevance.
606C.
606C. Upon certification. Question of relevance. When a referendum petition is filed with the city secretary or sought to be reconsidered, shall be suspended from taking effect until such suspension will create unless such suspension will. Such suspension will terminate when there's final determination of blah, blah, blah. City council repeals the ordinance, which would satisfy the issue, or upon the certification of election results by the election officials. But I think the relevance there is that once you certify the election results, you know whether the council is going to have to take action or not. I mean, if the election upholds the petition, the suspension isn't required because the referred thing just went away.
Well, what if, all right, so what if the suspension is gonna terminate when the election results are certified? Fine. So let's say that the election finds that yes, the ordinance shall be done away with.
So suspending it is not relevant
It's,
anymore.
it's no longer a suspension. At that point, it's flat dead.
Right.
Yeah, and
And if the, whatever the proposal loses in the election, and that's what's certified, then the suspension does need to be terminated.
Right. So
I think the change here was on the verb create. It was taking effect unless such suspension will create, and the suggestion is to change it to creates, which will create is future, creates is present. And I don't know if that change is necessary.
no, I think the change of tense would damage it.
Yeah, that's right. I
We agree. Violent agreement.
Yeah, we're in agreement.
Let's see, Do we need C? 606.
I think that you do need it in the situation where the election fails
Okay,
and the ordinance is not. At that point, you do need to suspend you need to end the suspension because it failed at the ballot.
we're leaving resolution in there.
Yeah,
Just-
I just didn't go through and take the.
Yeah, no worries.
Or vote things out there yet. Okay. All right,
What's that?
we have 17 minutes, so. Who has an opinion about the city of Kyle paragraph on an ethics committee?
So just so you know what you're looking at, the top section with the larger font is what's in their charter.
Okay.
Okay, the bottom is additional information that is on their website under the Ethics Commission to talk about what the purpose of that commission is.
And that separation.
Correct. So what Kyle has in there is just this section of.
The only part that I have a problem with is the members of such commission shall be appointed, supervised, and removed by the city council and shall meet upon a complaint or grievance filed at the request of the city council or city manager. That does not make the ethics committee independent enough. It should be a complaint filed to the commission, and the commission can then have the right to investigate as the commission finds fit.
I think what we're doing at this point is looking at our old 9.01B and looking at it, and kind of comparing it to this section 12.01. I tend to agree with Charlie. I think one of the things I liked about what we call sections 11 and 12 was that the ethics committee members were independently appointed.
Right.
And I think that's important to give the committee, the ethics committee, appropriate standing.
I totally agree with that. The problem is the execution of that. And how do we get the appointers of the ethics committee appointed in the first place? And that's the only issue I have, is because you're not gonna find a bunch of lawyers recommending a lawyer who's gonna work pro bono. And you're not gonna find a bunch of accountants proposing somebody who will work pro bono. It could be a lot of work, it could be no work, who knows? But the right instance comes in and these guys could be really busy. And
Well, if you know what would happen is if you got a really awful something or other that got referred, they would immediately farm out the investigation to a professional.
we would hope so.
They would, because they're not going to be paid, and they're not going to be. I mean, it's one thing to sign up for a couple of meetings a month, maybe, and go through some stuff. But if you've got a really gnarly thing, they are going to want a professional investigation.
So if you look at B up there where it says Board of Ethics, right? That was the old paragraph we have, which is similar to
Yeah.
the generic one that Kyle has. So what we may want to do is just leave what we had, unless there's folks that want to add something to it, but I don't know as though we're prepared to put all that detail.
Oh, I agree. We're not there
in
yet.
the other articles.
But if where I'm kind of coming down is, I think we need to, look at these two and have some thought process. But I think we need to make it clear in our little abbreviated paragraph that the members of the Board of Ethics are not going to be appointed by the city council, that they have to be independently appointed. And,
And the city council will have the right to determine how they're independently appointed.
because that would end up being part of, well, either. For now, that's true. We
Yeah.
might later do an amendment to the charter,
Well,
but that's 2 years from now at least.
yeah, and I would not like, my goal coming on here was to create a document that would last for at least 50 years. And if we go in saying, okay, we're gonna put this in as a stopgap and then we'll figure out what to do later, then that's sort of defeating our purpose, in my opinion. Would,
Well, it is and it isn't. What we've done is we have directed the city council to create and, adopt a code, create and adopt a code of ethics. And then number two, to
establish a commission.
establish a commission, and then we give them some very broad outlines. There's nothing that says that the citizens of Willow Park can't go to the city council and present to them proposed, a proposed ordinance or proposed provisions for an ordinance.
Well, what I'm saying is that the council, the best I think we can do, since we can't really get an independent body as we had in Article 11. I first read that, thought that's gonna be tough. The city council by ordinance can come up with a mechanism to have an independent ethics commission. And then that gives them a little way to figure out how to do this and make it independent. The two things that I think we all want is to have an independent ethics commission. Okay. And number two, people can go to the ethics commission to present something. I think those are two, that's close hand. That's close hand.
No gatekeeping.
No gatekeeping, because we're seeing in Minnesota what happens when you have gatekeeping.
Yeah.
And so if we can just find a way and we can all work over the next few days, we can all play with language, come back with Gene on proposed language, and then sort of marry it all together with the people we have in this room, we should be able to come up with a ethics commission provision for this charter that will hit everything that we needed to hit. But it has to hit independent commission and people can go directly to the commission with complaints.
Well, I don't know if y'all caught this, but Andy Messer's initial suggestion related to Article 11 here. This is his comment. My suggestion is that the charter simply require that an ethics ordinance be adopted by council within 30 days of the charter election. And he said that before I read this, he said that to me on the phone. And my immediate response to him was 30 days. This council can't do anything in 30 days.
No, I mean, this is, yeah. I would say that it's gonna take a little bit longer, but.
Well, it may sound harsh, but I don't think it's wrong. Anyway,
So, but I think his main point is that the charter can mandate that ethics ordinance be adopted.
Yes.
Certain
that I agree.
90 days.
There's a whole bunch of codes of ethics floating around out there.
I understand. And I think that a reasonable time could be 90 days, 3 months. I don't think 30 days. I don't think we ought to put that in the charter because that's change.
But again, we just have to come up with a way to do that. And I think by marrying what we had in 902 with the information that Daryl supplied tonight, I think we can have something and spend 10 minutes on it in the next meeting and have everything that we need to get.
But going back to your point though, on the how do we make it independent if it's gonna be controlled by?
Council has to find a way to make it independent. Yeah,
We're
I
gonna
know.
need some guidance on that,
Couldn't
because
the council just open it up as like a submission, almost like an application, but it's not.
Yeah, that's how they get, Board of Adjustment, and that's how they get planning and zoning people put in applications for it. And so it's basically the same thing. Yes, sir, Fritz?
Yeah, so at least in theory, the way boards of adjustment are appointed are supposed to be, I think, whereas the council does the appointing. They're appointed for a term of years. They can only be removed for certain very specific things. And that, at least in theory, makes them somewhat independent of.
See, that would work if you make it where it's a 2-year appointment. And the only way they can be kicked out is if the ethics board kicks them out. Then that gives them enough independence to where.
I'll throw you an idea. If you actually put out a request for people who wanted to be part of such a board, and you had 20 applicants. Well, for the Board of Adjustment, what the council does is it looks at all the applicants and picks the ones they want. But if you have a pool of applicants who are qualified by whatever other criteria you establish to be on the board, not just, I want to be there. If you have, say you have 20 applicants and you have 7 seats, you don't get the council to pick the applicants, you do it by lot. And that creates another layer of potential independence.
Well, you know, one of the things I liked about Articles 11 and
A piece of paper, shake them up in your hat.
Yeah.
but that's just it. I think that one of the things I like about 11 and 12 was it went to the a local CPA association, it went to the local bar association, it went to the local higher education. And so you're getting people recommended by those institutions.
Then they won't, I don't think they'll do it, Carol.
I talked to Weatherford College and they said they'd do it.
Well,
And I can bet you the bar association will do it.
well, some of us don't trust the bar association, so.
Different problem. Well, here's the problem. San Antonio, Houston, Dallas, they have enough people, they have oomph with large organizations. They have a little more oomph than Borough Park does.
Hard to believe, but probably true.
Isn't it scary?
So that's one potential downside of implementing what's in these
True.
articles.
But when you're asking somebody to administer a code of ethics and to basically investigate and pass some sort of decision on an ethics violation, you need someone who's got more qualifications than just being a citizen of Willow Park.
Right, and that way the
I-
city council can come up with a list of qualifications to, for applicants.
Okay, we all just turned into pumpkins
Right,
because
okay.
we have established rules and I am responsible for ensuring that we follow those rules. And I still have more stuff for us to go through. First, we have a town hall meeting tomorrow at 6:30 at the Park Baptist Church. Who all's gonna be there? Good to hear, thank you. We have had questions given to us in the first 2 town halls. And Daryl did a really good job of pulling those out and giving them to me. And I was gonna have us all discuss this part because I've taken all those questions and put them into a spreadsheet. And I tried the questions are in green and the red are the answers to them. So what I'm trying to do is come up with a way to feed this stuff to Todd so he can put a frequently asked questions thing online. So we can drop down the answers when you ask the question. And I have maintained which town hall they came from and the sequence in which they were asked. I will send this to you for your commentary. And I've set it up so that I can sort them into reasonably similar categories of questions. any input on that, that would be great.
Thank you, Jean. Thank you.
And I would be glad to try to capture any questions that come up tomorrow
We
and
think
do
that's
the,
fine.
and do the same thing.
Right. Now, one last thing, for tomorrow night, the version of the charter I'm going to take with me will have re-invoked paragraph B under 901. And I will delete, hide, or otherwise not bring up articles 11 and 12.
Okay, thank you.
They are not ready for prime time. Oh, we have a minute and 10 seconds, so any input?
Thank you very much for all your work in getting the signs out.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah, you thought on that, we appreciate that.
no problem.
And then also putting together all the comments and everything so that we could adjudicate them tonight. Yes, really pretty quick, so that's
Very helpful.
That was a lot of work.
Yeah.
Thank
No problem, you're welcome.
Yeah.
And then we're,
Questions to the attorneys, did you get enough guidance from us today, or you guys okay with everything?
I think so.
go ahead, come on. Now,
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
thank you all.
You just sort of.
Aye.